Donald Trump returned to his old stomping grounds. This time something felt different. Gone were the familiar faces of his staunch supporters. In their place stood a crowd far more diverse than any Trump rally had seen before. This was not the Red Sea of MAGA hats we are used to. This was something new, something intriguing. Trump's choice of New York City, a Democratic stronghold, was a calculated move. The city, known for its liberal leanings, presented a unique challenge. Could Trump bridge the divide? Could he appeal to those who have vehemently opposed him? The stakes were high. This rally was not just about galvanizing his base, it was about expanding it. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation. The air was thick with questions. Would this be a return to the divisive rhetoric of the past, or would it be a glimpse into a new, more inclusive Trump? As the crowd roared and the chants began, one thing was clear. Trump was back in his element, and he was playing a different game this time. The crowd reflected the changing face of America. African Americans, Latinos, Asian Americans, they were all there. Young and old, working class and affluent, they came from all walks of life. This was not the homogeneous group that political analysts had come to expect at Trump rallies. This was something different. The diversity of the crowd sparked a flurry of speculation. Had Trump managed to broaden his appeal? Was this a sign of a changing political landscape? Or was it simply a one-off event? Pundits and analysts scrambled to make sense of the scene, poring over data and dissecting every word of Trump's speech. The presence of minority groups, traditionally Democratic voters, raised eyebrows. What had drawn them to Trump? Was it his economic message, his stance on social issues, or was it something else entirely? The answers were complex and varied, but one thing was for sure: Trump had their attention. Trump's new strategy, if indeed there was one, remained shrouded in mystery. Was this a genuine attempt to reach across the aisle, or was it a cynical ploy to exploit existing divisions? Political analysts were divided, with some praising Trump's willingness to engage with a wider audience, while others criticized it as a superficial attempt to rehabilitate his image. Some argued that Trump was simply following the playbook of any savvy politician, tailoring his message to appeal to the specific concerns of his audience. Others saw it as a sign of desperation, a last-ditch effort to salvage his political career. Whatever the motivation, the impact was undeniable. The shift in tone and rhetoric was subtle, but noticeable. Gone were the fiery diatribes against immigrants and minorities. In their place were appeals to unity, patriotism, and the promise of a better future for all Americans. Whether this new approach would resonate with voters outside of his base remained to be seen. The reaction to Trump's rally was swift and divided. Supporters hailed it as a triumphant return to form, while critics dismissed it as a cynical ploy. Social media erupted with a torrent of comments, both positive and negative, as people grappled with the implications of Trump's message and the diverse makeup of the crowd. Conservative media outlets praised Trump for his outreach to minority voters, while liberal outlets accused him of pandering and hypocrisy. The mainstream media struggled to find a balanced perspective, caught between the need to report on the event objectively and the desire to provide context and analysis. Within the Republican Party, Trump's performance was met with a mixture of relief and apprehension. Some saw it as a sign that he was finally ready to move beyond the divisive rhetoric of the past, while others worried that he was alienating his core supporters. The Democratic Party, meanwhile, seemed unsure of how to respond, caught off guard by Trump's apparent attempt to broaden his appeal. The long-term implications of Trump's NYC rally remain to be seen. Would this be a turning point in his political career, or would it be a fleeting moment, soon forgotten? The answer, like so much else in American politics, was far from clear. One thing, however, was certain: the political landscape was shifting. The old rules no longer applied. The rise of social media, the decline of traditional news sources, and the growing polarization of the electorate had created a volatile and unpredictable environment. In this new environment, anything was possible. Candidates who could connect with voters on an emotional level, who could tap into their hopes and fears, were the ones who were most likely to succeed. Whether Trump could adapt to this new reality remained an open question. Trump's attempt to appeal to a broader audience was a risky gamble. He risked alienating his base while failing to win over skeptics. Yet, it was a gamble he seemed willing to take. The success or failure of this strategy would depend on a number of factors. Could he maintain this more inclusive tone? Could he convince voters that he was sincere in his desire to represent all Americans? And could he do so without losing the support of his most ardent followers? The answers to these questions would have profound implications not just for Trump's political future, but for the future of American politics as a whole. Was this a sign of a more pragmatic, less divisive Trump? Or was it simply a calculated maneuver by a master showman? Only time would tell. Time.